The referee, who this afternoon is Gareth Rhodes, blows his whistle, and we're underway here with a long ball out to the right wing, which is beyond everybody, and straight out for a throw-in in these early stages. Good atmosphere in here though, with plenty of noise being made, particularly by the cop away to our left-hand side. It's about half full. Some fans still arriving. The Derek Pavis stand that we sit within is well populated this afternoon. Not so much in the Hayden Green family stand away to our right-hand side, but as I mentioned, a good away support and following as Rich Brindley is back there. He does well, judges the flight of the ball and the bounce, and nods it back to Sam Slocum, because he had a couple of Torquay players that were lurking around him, as John Thompson was mentioning. Ben Whitfield and Jamie Reid are their main threats going forward. Now Knott's knocking it long. It's to Doyle, who plays it out square to Bakayoko, 5 or 6 yards outside of the Torquay penalty area on the left-hand side. To Shields, tries to squeeze his cross in, headed away, but not all that far at the near post. Then there's hesitation between the Torquay defenders, but they do manage to eventually clear it up towards the halfway line, where Big Ben Turner will take over. Plays it forwards up in the direction of Kyle Wootton, and whilst he wins the header and flicks it on, it will run all the way through to the Gulls goalkeeper, who is in a bright red kit this afternoon with equally bright pink boots. That is Lucas Covalan, who has kept 3 clean sheets out of his 12 appearances for the visitors. He didn't start the season in net, but he has been the mainstay between the sticks of late. And it's Torquay who are in possession inside the centre circle with less than 2 minutes played here and without a goal scored so far. It's match day on BBC Radio Nottingham. That's neat play by Kalala down the right hand side, turns away from his man and then tries to slip the ball through the middle, but Rawlinson will clear up to Wootton once more, and now Bakayoko on the left hand side. He's got a bit of space and he finds Shields, who's quite lightweight, but he's got some nimble, tricky feet, most of it with his right foot, it should be said. The left foot more there for standing. He's down the left hand side today. He'll try to get a cross in, but he has to come back up the line, and he wins a throwing in the process. Mitchell Rose is there, and so he'll come across and look to launch the long throw into the penalty area. Important that they get a good quick start and get out on that front foot, isn't it, John Thompson?
Yeah, they've started well. Notts, they've been very bright in possession, kept the ball well. It's Sean Shields who's had the most touches on the ball out here on the left wing, and it's my first opportunity watching him today, so let's see what he's got. And he looks like he's got a bit of talent to be taken here from Ebbsfleet, but the ball's gone into the box and Mitchell Rose,
yeah, Bakayoko tries to get on the end of it, but almost trips over the ball.
Yeah, situations like that, you get yourself, it's early in the game and you get yourself in there, but Mitchell Rose is going to have a long throw, put it in the box, and it should be a better delivery there, because he just put the opposition back in possession now. But little things like that, Notts have just improved a little bit in possession, but it's been a bright start so far.
Kalala has it on the right hand side for Torquay again. He just turns away from a couple of black and white shirts quite easily. Then Mitchell Rose comes in, makes a stern tackle, wins the ball, gets the man as well, and Notts are in possession. Over the halfway line they go. Wootton dinks the ball forwards to his strike partner Dennis, who controls, goes back to Shields, who's been involved heavily in these early stages, now finds Enzio, middle of the pitch. He has a man immediately on him, and as a result he concedes possession. But Torquay have it, and Notts are swarming around them in these early stages, putting plenty of pressure on them when they're out of possession, and a long ball is drifted up over the top as a result, and Jamie Reid's never going to get on the end of that one. Reid, who's the man who's got 10 goals to his name so far, scored 3 in his last 3 games, which makes him the second top scorer in this league, only behind Scott Quigley of Barrow. And Notts have an early throw-in, 4 minutes on the clock, still goalless. Neil Cox, who of late has become much more the vocal of the 2 Neils down there in the Notts dugout. He's stood on the edge of his technical area, whilst Ardley is sat back in the dugout itself. Torquay trying to make their way forward through the middle, but poor ball from Jake Andrews, who scored on Tuesday at Ebbsfleet, since have parted ways with their manager, and Notts are back in possession once more inside their own penalty area. Ball just skipped up, it seemed to, on the edge of the 6-yard box, but Slocum got a decent enough connection, and Mitchell Rose nods the ball out now onto the left wing, which Shields will attempt to keep him, but as I say, his left foot's not really his strong point, and with his left foot there he was only able to find touch. Mansfield have got Oldham at home today in League 2, looking to build on a dramatic winner up at Grimsby last weekend. And they played in the EFL Trophy in Well, on Tuesday night at Field Mill, but that doesn't really count. They lost that one to Crewe on a penalty shootout. And Torquay have cycled the ball from right to left, and it's with Liam Davis down the left-hand side, who'll give it to Andrews. 4 goals to his name from that wide position, and the ball goes towards Whitfield, who's next to the corner flag where the Jimmy Cyril stand meets the family stand. Back up the line once more to Davis, who gets it caught under his feet, but they keep hold of possession. Do the Seagulls, or the Gulls, same thing really, isn't it? And eventually put the ball out for a throw into Notts on the far side that Rich Brindley will step across and take. Notts themselves, 3 defeats in their last 13 games. They've been in some really decent form. 3 wins in their last 4, 4 in their last 6, and just the 1 home defeat so far this season. That was against Barnet in the very early stages of the season here. It was a tea-time kick-off on a Saturday afternoon. Another errant pass from Torquay, and that sets Zamana Bakayoko away down the left-hand side. Tries to cross it, almost turns into a bit of a shot, but the goalkeeper was well placed, well positioned, and able to claim it easily enough. 6 gone, 0-0.
I always feel like when Notts can up the tempo just a little bit with their passing, with most teams in this division, they won't be able to live with them. And Notts have the better players, the better quality there. And you see when they switch the ball from one side of the pitch to the other, they often get in. It was Bakayoko there on the overlap. But that's the areas for Notts to really try and exploit today, is down those 2 wings. They've got 2 very good wingers with good skill who can put it in for 2 very good strikers, so they've got to just try. Oh, he's in.
Yeah, it was a lovely play in the middle there from Shields to Dennis. Now back to Enzio. Enzio's going to shoot. It's a poor effort. It's deflected and gone behind for a corner kick. Which kind of bails him out, really, but it's lovely build-up play through the middle of the park.
It's lovely build-up play, and Baldwin, he does that very often when he starts out in the right wing. He ends up drifting inside, and that's when you lose your marker. And he's the man you want on the ball. He's the one you want to get it to as quick as possible. In the end, he should have really done a little bit better. He was just in. He got into their box and just got his shot away, but it was blocked for a corner. That's what you want. Baldwin running at their back 4 as much as possible.
So Shields again, who's making his 2nd start for Notts. He'll take the corner in at the near post, something off the training ground. Back towards Dennis, who shoots. Really good stop on the edge of the 6-yard box. Brindley now shoots. Oh, what a goal! Richard Brindley with his first goal as a Notts player from a good 35 yards. Drills it into the bottom corner of the net through loads of players. How nobody gets a touch on it, I don't know. That is some finish, and we are having some goal of the season competition this season at Meadow Lane. 7 minutes gone, Notts 1, Torquay 0.
That is your goal of the season right there, Charlie. For a right back, that ball came, he must be 30 yards. It came bouncing at him, and he's caught it absolutely. He could not catch that ball any sweeter than he did. Caught it absolutely brilliant with his right foot, and it's gone about 2 yards just above the ground all the way into the bottom corner. What an unbelievable strike. And he's been a man in form, hasn't he? He's been probably the best player over the last few games. Often right backs don't get the credit, but what an outstanding goal that is.
Magnificent. And we speak about confidence. It's confidence that allows those sort of moments.
Yeah, but you wouldn't.
Otherwise you don't do it.
Exactly. You'd pass up the opportunity to shoot there, but some goal.
Here they come again with Shields, edge of the penalty area. He's going to shoot. It deflects, and he was trying to pick out that far corner. And you know what? I'd have been interested to see exactly where the ball would have ended up had it have not been blocked by the Torquay outstretched leg. But it's a really good start to this game from the Magpies, capped off by a brilliant finish, brilliant goal from Rich Brindley, who I'm just guessing as a right fullback he won't have scored many better than that.
No, definitely not. There's some strike, as you say, just to take that on. A lot of people would not even shoot from that distance. It was that far out, and he's cut it absolutely perfect.
Well, going back to the set play from the corner previous to that, that was really well worked. Ball in along the ground to the near post. Enzio comes across to it. He turns it kind of round the corner, out towards the edge of the penalty area where Christian Dennis had come off of a shield, or a screen, if you will, and that freed him up, and a good attempt at goal, which could have seen Notts take the lead if it wasn't blocked, and all of that in the build-up.
As a team, they just look so sharp today, Notts County. That's what I've noticed, the difference when I've watched them previously. Because they're in a good run of form at the moment and they're winning games of football, getting good results at home, you can see that every player just demands the ball.
Here's Shields again down the left-hand side. That's not a bad ball into the penalty area. Headed away by the Torquay skipper, Cameron, as Shields got down that left-hand side and whipped in a good ball with his off foot, with his left foot. And Yeah, Wootton was lurking, Enzio was forwards as well, and Notts are looking pretty potent themselves in this first 10 minutes where they lead 1-0 already. But Torquay have plenty of threats. One of them is Kalala, who takes the ball down the right-hand side, beats one man, beats another, and then throws his leg out. Mitchell Rose tells him that he threw his leg out, and then tells the referee likewise that he has bought a free kick there. But a free kick it is, and this one, because of the angle, is approaching 30 yards out to the right-hand side. It's probably 10 yards right of centre, and so it certainly suit a left footer, and for that reason Jake Andrews, who's already got 4 goals to his name this season, including some from set pieces, is stood over the ball. Likewise Ben Whitfield, but Whitfield's now walking away. He used to be at Port Vale, did Whitfield. He's got a couple of goals to his name this season, and yeah, Andrews the man who will take this, and he's going to have a go at goal as well. There are 3 Torquay players stood out to the far side of the penalty area who may be making late runs, perhaps worth keeping an eye on, but I can't see anything else here other than a long shot at goal from the 21-year-old former Bristol City Academy product. We've played 11 minutes. The last minute of it has been spent waiting for the referee to sort out the wall, which he's now happy with. It's only a 3-man wall for Notts, so not the biggest of walls, but now the referee is content that play can resume, and here comes the free kick, and it was well placed, didn't have the most power on it, and a long way out, sort of approaching 30 yards, but it was heading for the top corner, though Sam Slocum read the flight of it all the way. Meanwhile, Notts have played it up over the top, and Dennis is offside. He did get there, but it'll go behind, like I say, flag up on the far side anyway. So 11 minutes gone here. We'll check in with Jake up at Field Mill. Mansfield against Oldham this afternoon. How the Stags started in the early stages, Jake? Good afternoon.
Some goal.
What a goal.
Jeez.
What a goal.
What we call a ping. Push. He'll never hit a ball better than that.
No, it was just so clean, wasn't it? I'm all right, thank you very much, Tom.
No thanks, excuse me.
Thank you very much, Jake, much appreciated. 12 minutes on the clock here, 1-0 to Notts County, thanks to that brilliant finish from Richard Brindley, and that, along with a decent start for the Magpies, all in all, is what has got the Notts fans singing the wheelbarrow song away to our left-hand side. Long ball forward again, up in the general direction of Wootton. Doyle keeps it alive. It will now fall at the feet of the big number 14 for Notts. Wootton has it, holds it up, backheels it to Bakayoko, now to Shields. He turns, faces the penalty area, tries to scoop it up into the 18-yard box, but it's cleared away. Never really beat the man at the front post, and it wasn't even that close to the post. A few games off today because of travel problems with train lines. So Barrow against Dover, one of them filed against Sutton, Stockport against Dagenham, Redbridge. They're all off in the National League, nothing to do with the weather, but elsewhere Eastleigh are leading against Chorley by a goal to nil. Hartlepool are 1-0 up down at Aldershot. Meanwhile in League Two, Crewe, who won via a penalty shootout in the Pointless Trophy on Tuesday night, are a goal up at Carlisle as Enzio gets caught in possession inside the centre circle, but he and Christian Dennis work hard out of possession and try to force an error out of the Torquay goalkeeper, as Michael Doyle now commits an error and gives it straight to Kalala, who's bearing down on the edge of the penalty area, turns his cross into that 18-yard box. And Whitfield tried to flick a header goalwards, but it was always going to be a difficult one to master, and he put it well wide, and no real danger nor threat to Sam Slocum's goal.
Very unlike Michael Doyle there, giving the ball away like he did, but the one person for Torquay really who stood out so far is Kalala on the right wing. It does seem to be, he's got a bit of pace about him, he's got a few tricks. Not sure what Sam Slocum has done there, he's just kicked it out of play. But yes, Kalala's been that one player for Torquay so far to watch out for, and you don't want to be giving any misplaced passes to him at the moment. No,
Notts trying to play out from the back have considered a throw-in near the edge of their own penalty area, and so Torquay are back in possession, camped inside the Magpies half. Out to the left-hand side they go in the direction of Davis, who gets forwards well, finds Andrews, who's his partner in crime on the far side of the pitch down the left. Ball into the penalty area, aimed towards Reed, who makes a decent run and jump for it, but Rawlinson got there first, and the Welshman heads it out for a throw-in on the far side. Really good following from the Torquay supporters today. It's a kind of Notts County-esque following that. Notts taking 400-500 fans at least everywhere pretty much on the roads with them. Nearly 400 down at Dover a week ago, and don't get much further than that. Meanwhile, Torquay have got a free kick about 10 yards outside of the Notts penalty area on the far side. We've played 15 minutes. Magpies are a goal up and looking to hang on to their precious home defensive record, really. I think they've only conceded twice here this season, make it 3 times perhaps. They certainly haven't conceded at all in their last 4 home games, looking to make it 5 clean sheets on the bounce. It was 7 hours and 21 minutes at the start of play today. They will have to stand strong from this free kick from the far side, which is up in the air, and to quote my predecessor, it's a high dropping ball, and it goes out for a goal kick.
Yeah, you think with Notts today, that was obviously a very poor free kick there from Torquay, but this will be the difference, keeping those clean sheets. It will be defending those sorts of set plays. There's some big lads though when you look at the Notts County team compared to early on in the season. When I did some commentary on the games, they look a much bigger, stronger unit, don't they? You see Wootton dropping back for all those set plays. The 2 big centre halves, they just look a stronger outfit to me this time.
Oh, and Christian Dennis nearly sneaks in between a couple of Torquay players, one of them being the goalkeeper on the edge of the penalty area. Again, thanks to Kyle Wootton, he's a real handful. You know, Cameron's trying to keep hold of him, and Cameron's, you know, sort of no shrinking flower himself. He's a big guy, and yet Kyle Wootton, he's just so very, very strong and difficult to nudge off the ball. There again, you know, it's knocks a Torquay player to one side with absolute ease. Notts couldn't maintain possession, and it's going to be a throw-in for the visitors about 20 yards inside the Notts half on the right-hand side, so close to the Magpies' technical area. But yeah, Wootton a real handful, and he's the one who's dropping back all the time and leaving Christian Dennis as the furthest man forward. Bakayoko back there winning a header, though it skipped up awkwardly and Shields couldn't get it away, and so Torquay are back in possession again. First time cross into the 18-yard box, saw Turner have to stoop low, and he heads it out. Could have gone out for a corner, but it just about goes the right side of the corner flag as far as a Notts perspective goes, and out for a throw-in taken, but not all that certainly with the throw-in wasn't taken with a great amount of certainty, I should say. Away to our right-hand side, it looked like 2 Torquay players on separate wavelengths, and that has resulted in a Notts goal kick, albeit maybe perhaps a touch fortuitously, because there wasn't a hint of a foul in the process. But Notts continue to lead by a 1-0. This the first meeting between the 2 sides since back in the May of 2010, which was 0-0 at Playmore. Tomo, you played in that game, and it was the title-winning season. It's the first time that Notts have played Torquay here at Meadow Lane, though, in virtually exactly 10 years. 10 years ago it was yesterday, and the Magpies tend to fare pretty well against Torquay, apart from in the FA Cup a few years back. The last time Notts lost to Torquay was in 1966, and they've had plenty of meetings since then. Ball forward down the left-hand side for the Gulls, cut out by Rawlinson, who knocks it back up the line and out for a throw-in on the far side. Important that Notts don't just kind of lapse into a passage of play now where they sit back and allow Torquay to attack them just because they've got that 1-goal advantage, which it does appear to be a bit of a habit that they're creating of late.
Yeah, you see it so often in football when teams score an early goal like that, they just happen to sit back. And sometimes with having somebody like Wootton in your team, you can just hit that long pass sometimes instead of trying to get it out wide to what got you that goal. You know, it's people like Baldwin, it's people like Shields getting on the ball that have caused all the problems. So Notts have just gone a little bit direct since they've scored that goal, and Wootton's just let a couple of balls, not quite winning them off with the centre half, and it's just gone a little bit sloppy since they got that goal at the moment. So a little bit of sustained possession would be good. People like Doyle, Ben Turner, experienced players there, they're the ones who need to be dictating it really. They need to just get the ball, play those easy passes, and just let Torquay do a little bit more work here rather than just going a bit long. Route 1.
Bakayogo's got it on the left, but gives it away straight to Kalala, and then Bakayogo tackles him from behind, gives him a kick on the ankles, but the referee says he got the ball, so play on, and Notts have it with Rose in the middle. He did well to get that out because he had yellow shirts pouncing on him from all angles. It's now with Notts on the right hand side. Neat 1-2 between Enzio and Brindley. Here is Brindley, ball to the edge of the penalty area, in behind Dennis, couldn't quite control it. His touch wasn't all that good, if we're being honest, and Kalala will bring it away for Torquay. But a neat break down the right hand side, though. Notts have got men against them now with a ball into the back post, and Bakayogo gets very, very lucky indeed. Whitfield was lurking just in behind him. Bakayogo didn't read it, and I'm not sure he knew he was even there, and missed the ball. Fortunately, Whitfield's connection with it wasn't much better, and so Notts get it away, and here they come down the left-hand side. Bit of end-to-end stuff over the last couple of minutes or so as Wootton comes forward, puts his body in, wants a free kick, won't get one. And so Torquay will now bring it away down the right-hand side, though Big Ben Turner will step across Whitfield and put it out for a throw-in.
He's been excellent so far, Ben Turner. He's just doing everything you want from your centre-half back there. He's dictating everything. He's getting everyone in the right position, and then when it comes to a challenge like that, he's winning every header, every tackle, leading by example. 21
minutes gone, still 1-0 to Notts as Brindley scampers back and does well to keep it in. Yes, he does. Gets it up towards the halfway line, but it's straight back to Torquay once more, so it's getting a little nervy as the Gulls mount yet another attack on the Magpies penalty area. It's with Kalala, who looks to be their real danger man in the build-up play at least. Couple of rather slow and ponderous step-overs there, though, with Bakayogo in front of him, and comes off of the Notts left full-back and out for a throw on this near side, away to our right. It's Ben Winter who will take it. Just to Vincent, gets it back, and Notts want the throw-in. Shields thought that it should have been his, but the linesman, who was well positioned, has given it to Torquay. They throw it into the penalty area, and Whitfield tries to volley it across the 6-yard box. It's blocked by Turner, and that'll be a corner kick for Torquay United.
They've improved a little bit, haven't they, Torquay, as they've gone along. They're creating a few little chances here. They've won another corner now, and just putting a little bit of pressure on Notts. Notts, I think, got them early on. They were a bit shocked at the start at how well Notts started the game, but they're just coming into it a little bit, as you expect all teams to do. There's a reason why they're doing so well in the league. They're still a point, I think, ahead of Notts at the moment.
They are, absolutely. Here comes the corner kick. There's a man freed up, but the ball's gone over his head, and Wootton will control it and then volley it away into the Torquay half. So Notts will have to get out and create some space behind their last man and the goalkeeper, which is what has allowed for, well, the goalkeepers to exchange passes, basically. It's very kind of Coverland, the Torquay goalkeeper, to just belt it up into the gloves of Sam Slocum. The goalkeepers' union stands strong once again. Robin Chipperfield was asking before the game, you know, about the intelligence of goalkeepers. They're also known to be a bit mad, aren't they?
Yeah, I would have thought the opposite to what Chippers was thinking there, personally. The keepers I've had around me. Why would anyone want to be a keeper? I never understood that one, Charlie, to be honest.
I don't know. I had a brief spell of wanting to be a goalkeeper when I was about 11. It's only brief, though.
Wasn't that everyone that was picked last ended up in goal?
Yeah, that maybe that was what it was. Who knows? Winter has it for Torquay, moving swiftly on, and they will play the ball along the edge of their own defence and penalty area. 23 minutes on the clock here. Notts leading by a goal to nil. Brilliant strike from Richard Brindley. You're going to enjoy that one when you see it on the highlights later. Referee can't get out of the way, no matter what he tried, and so new rules this season. The referee has to kind of restart the game, no drop balls or anything like that. He gives the ball to a Torquay player because they were in possession, and any Notts player has to go a few yards back, which they do, and we're swiftly back underway. That's one of the probably better and more sensible rules that have been introduced of late. Neat 1-2 round the corner from Torquay. Down they go down the right hand side with Andrews. He switched flanks with Kalala for the moment, and Andrews has it, cutting back up the line on his left foot, gives it to Winter, edge of the penalty area, tries to cross it. Michael Doyle, like a jack in the box, jumps on the edge of the penalty area and heads it away, and Shields does well to cut it out as well. Perhaps just the fact that Torquay have come back into this game really quite effectively over the last 10 to 12 minutes has got Neil Ardley off of his dugout, and he's now stood on the edge of the technical area and barking instructions to his players. Because
yeah, he's talking to the strikers there, Wootton and Dennis. When the ball's gone up to them, they're just not being able to hold it up, and that's what's causing Torquay to keep attacking knots here at the moment. So the strikers just need to hold that ball, look after it a little bit better, win the battle with the centre halves, and then just bring others into play. But at the moment, the Torquay centre halves are just nipping in front of them and winning everything.
They come again through the middle with Whitfield, goes down under the challenge of Mitch Rose, but the referee will allow an advantage. Out the left they are with Kalala, who's going to cut in on his right foot, have a go at goal as well. Smacks Rawlinson on the forehead, who was about 10 yards away. He took it well, did the Welshman. And we're going to have a stoppage in play, are we? No, the referee put his whistle to his mouth because the Torquay defender went down rather awkwardly. The referee has now stopped the game, and the moment he did stop the game, Robbie Cundy, the Torquay centre half, immediately sat up and showed he was okay. It was just an aerial collision as he rode over the top of Kyle Wootton. In this stoppage in play here, though, with Notts a goal to the good, and with 25 minutes on the clock, we'll check in with Jake again up at Field Mill and find out how the Stags are getting on. Just landed awkwardly, didn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, this referee can't get out of the way here. Thank you very much, Jake. The referee's position at times, he seems to be right on top of the play, but sometimes a touch too close to it. There's been another cheap free kick conceded by Notts, meanwhile, on the halfway line, which has been taken. There are 26 minutes that are on the clock here, and that's a neat ball down the right-hand side for Torquay. It's with Whitfield, close to the corner flag. Good tackle made by Ben Turner, who scoops it inside of his foot, but then clears it away and gives it straight to a Torquay player who will shoot from range, and that's deflected behind and gone by for a corner kick. So a second one in fairly quick succession for the visitors, and another opportunity for Notts.
They're getting a little bit of success out wide, and you can see now both wingers have changed sides for Torquay. They can sense that they've got the beating of the fullbacks at the moment, and you've got Andrews and Kalala have just swapped sides at the moment. Andrews is going out with this delivery from a corner kick.
Yeah, it will be an in-swinger with the left boot. Not a bad ball, but Michael Doyle well positioned on the edge of his 6-yard box to head it away, and then Shields just daftly shoves a Torquay player just to the right of centre and about 25 yards or so from goal. And then he's incredulous, is Shields, in why on earth a free kick's being given, but it's stupid.
Yeah, it's so frustrating when your wingers do that sometimes. They're not the best in those situations, and he just pushed them blatantly. And it puts Torquay in a good position here. For Andrews has already showed that he has a very good free kick, and I'm sure he'll be having another go here from this attempt, but just a silly foul there by Sean Shields.
Referee's having a word with Shields and Michael Doyle. Doyle, obviously the captain, just probably telling Shields to be a bit more sensible, I think. I mean, that's dangerous.
It's okay further up the pitch, isn't it? It's where he did it. It's just on the edge of the box. It's not the right place to give away a free kick.
No. I think it's Whitfield who's down and in the wars. He'll be getting back up to his feet. I'm sure he'll be okay. The physio just checking on him. But it's dangerous in rugby, that, let alone in football, where you're knocking somebody out of the air once they're sort of mid-flight. He's up to his feet rather gingerly. There's the former Yeovil man, and hearing it from the Notts fans in the Derek Pavis stand. But meanwhile, Jake Andrews will stand over the ball once more. This one is a touch further out than his last one, but a bit more central. And he's not going to take it. Instead, he's been pushed away by Ben Winter, I think under the instructions of Gary Johnson, the Torquay manager. And so you wonder if they're going to try and flick or float one into the penalty area here, where they've split their men, 3 to the left-hand side of the 18-yard box, 2 to the right, and then 2 stood in behind the wall. Winter is the man who will take it, rolls it along the floor. It's a really good tackle made by Rich Brindley, who read that. Kalala was the target, and Notts have managed to clear their lines up towards the halfway line, but it's coming straight back towards them because they didn't manage to push up in time. Poor ball, far too straight, and that skipped up off the surface and goes behind for a goal kick. 29 minutes gone, 1-0 Notts.
Yeah, it was obviously a free kick they've been working on Torquay there. How they set it all up, but Brindley again, he reads every danger. I think you mentioned it before kickoff today, Charlie, that's why you've been so impressed with him, a right back, and again he was the one who was switched on there, read the free kick that they were planning on doing, and he was the one to nip in with the tackle. He's had a great start to this game.
Helped
not just
his
goal, defensively as well. You know, as a right back, the goals are a bonus, but defending is your bread and butter, and that's what he's done very well as well.
I asked Damien McCrory when the game he got injured in, not to have a free kick, sarcastic cheers, because they'd not had one for a while. He'd scored and Notts had won 1-0, and they'd been down to 10 men. It was the game that Michael Doyle got sent off in. What does he prefer more, the goal or the clean sheet? And he was like, oh, clean sheet every single day of the week. Is that your sort of line of thought?
Yeah,
as well?
definitely. Yeah, that's the way I would be. I think as anyone in the back four, a goalkeeper, that's all you're concerned about, is that feeling afterwards, getting a free kick, getting a clean sheet. Is just it's all part of it, you know. It's strikers. If we get a goal or you have an assist as a defender, that's a bonus for me. Do your own job, and that's defending strong, and Notts have done that so far.
There's Bakayoko on the left wing, first time ball into the penalty area, cleared away at the near post, bounced off of Wootton on the way, and the Magpies control possession inside the Torquay half with Ben Turner, who's well out of position and has now conceded possession. Meanwhile, Michael Doyle got caught, I thought, there by Andrews, but play will continue and Doyle is okay, and Bakayoko has it on the left wing. He gives it to Shields, who's down near the corner flag away to our left, turns back on his right foot, ball in. Kyle Wootton had a good opportunity, flicks his header wide. In the end, I think maybe Dennis got in his way a little bit, but no excuses. Wootton probably should have hit the target.
Yeah, Shields again there on the left wing here. He's got a little bit more of the ball in the last few minutes again, and he's going to do that all day long. He's on the left wing, but he wants to use his right foot, so he cut back, whipped in a very good ball. Probably not enough pace on it really for Wootton to get a header that would cause the keeper any problems, but Wootton won his header. Unfortunately, just went wide, but you know, that's much better from Notts, because they've been sidetracked a little bit here by Torquay, who just came back into the game, but that was much better, that was. And Shields to me has been the liveliest winger. I haven't seen enough of Baldwin on the other side at the moment. All the good work is coming down this left side from Notts at the moment.
Andrews has it just outside the penalty area. He dinks the ball into the edge of that 18-yard box, but Ben Turner read it well, comes forward, and now Enzio flies into a header and doesn't duck out of it. Good to see. Rich Brindley wins the tackle, tries to win a second one, and now Michael Doyle flies in. He got kicked in the air as well, and looks at the referee and says, where's the free kick? Didn't get one, and instead Torquay have got a throw in on the halfway line. I'm sure one of the feet, even on the far side, big bright luminous boots, I am sure that one of them was over the line there as he took that right in front of the linesman, but he didn't see it, so maybe I'm wrong. 32 minutes on the clock. There's been a goal at Field Mill. Jake. Tap. Ooh. Cut for that. Thank you very much, Jake. Meanwhile here, Gareth Rhodes, the referee, continues to alienate himself amongst the Notts supporters. A 50-50 header between Liam Davis and Kyle Wootton, of which Davis has come off much worse from, and he's stayed down. I mean, the referee stops the game for a free kick. The game should have been stopped because it's a head injury by the looks of things, but I'm not sure there was anything too much in it. And Rhodes, the referee, has now called Michael Doyle and Kyle Wootton across to have a word about it, which I think is a little bit excessive. And yet here we are again with the referee making himself the centre of the action.
Yeah, no, he's been very unlucky there, Kyle Wootton. If he ends up getting booked for this, the ball is there to be challenged for. It's bounced, it's in the air, and him and the centre half have gone up for it. And he's every right to go for it. He's just the stronger of the two, and he's knocked him to the ground. And I think he's been very unlucky to be giving away a free kick in the first place. And I'm not sure if the ref is going to book him. I don't think he is.
I don't think so. But I mean, you can tell it wasn't too bad of a collision because
he's up and about now.
He's up and about, and the physio never came on.
Yeah.
That's always a dead giveaway.
He didn't lead with the elbow. That's the only way in that situation where Kyle Wootton would have done anything wrong, really. The ball was there to be won, and he challenged for it. He was just the stronger of the two people. And
yeah.
That's what you want from your centre forward. That's why Notts have brought somebody like him to the football club.
Long ball forward from the resulting free kick is probably going to be a touch too long in the end. Bakayoko gets a bit lucky as he tried to hook it away. and out for a throw, and it's hit Andrews and gone behind for a goal kick. 34 minutes on the clock then, and the not supporters not overly enamoured with the referee's performance so far. And Michael Doyle is another thing that you get out of Michael Doyle, as you
he's always in his ear, isn't he?
Constantly in the referee's
It looks
ear.
like he's marked the referee in this game so far. He's been beside him all the time, and he's in his ear, and that's what you need. Sometimes it might just cost, it might give away a penalty, or it's just one little decision that the referee might decide in your favour just through that hounding of him throughout the whole game. And Michael Doyle's done that for years, and he'll continue to do it.
I think back to the two playoff games against Coventry. Of course, he was playing for Coventry, practically refereed those games. Here come Torquay, though. It's with Whitfield. He's breaking through the middle. He's got a man either side of him. Doyle tries to make the tackle unsuccessfully. He's still going his Whitfield, but he's being forced further and further away from goal by Rawlinson.
Great defending.
Who eventually makes a really good tackle, and it goes out for a throw, and that's what you love to see as a former defender, John Thompson.
Yeah, well, that's what gets me off my seat, as you see in there. I love tackles like that. And Conor Rawlinson there was outstanding centre-half play. He kept with his man all the way across the pitch, and then slide tackled at the end perfectly, and that's what you want.
Ball forward once more.
They look strong at the back, Notts, don't they? I think I can see why the manager Neil Ardley didn't want to make any changes to that back four. Why, we know he could have easily brought in McCrory, who's not done anything wrong, but that back four today has looked solid against everything that Torquay have thrown at her.
Bakayoko playing the ball forward, and then he flies into a 50-50 header. Does really well. He just wanted that more than the Torquay player. And here comes Shields down the left wing, approaching the edge of the area. Gives it to Dennis. No, he doesn't. In behind him, and it was just too far in front of Enzio Baldwin, who was looking to break into the penalty area, and Torquay come away with it, and now they're looking to counter-attack. Four-man counter-attack. It's with Whitfield down the right-hand side. Turner's gone across to close him down. Doyle's back there as well. So's Baldwin. They work it into the middle. Couple of men out of position really here. It's now with Buse, edge of the penalty area. He's going to have a go. That's well blocked by Mitch Rose, and Notts will try to get their men forward and away from the edge of their own 18-yard box, but it's still with Torquay. Bit of pressure coming again from the Devonian club with Whitfield. Down that right-hand side he goes. Just forgot the ball briefly for a moment, which allowed Bakayoko to have a nibble, but Torquay still have it. Middle of the park, it's with Vincent, tries to dink it out to the left-hand side. It's going to have too much legs on it, is it? No, Davis keeps it in, according to the linesman, who was on the opposite side of the pitch, and they've still got it. It's with Kalala, bit of space to shoot. Brindley there on top of the situation once more and clears it away. There has been a goal at Field Mill. We'll head there in a moment, but at the conclusion of this latest attack from Torquay, as they look to come down the left-hand side, Notts have a throw, and Jake will tell us about a goal. Bush. Tomac. Nicky Maynard, who got the Rolls-Royce Phantom treatment in the summer when he signed for Mansfield Town, repaying that fancy taxi this afternoon at Field Mill against Oldham. Torquay themselves, a team that, whilst they are 6th in the table and on 25 points inside the playoff places, defensively not the best. They've conceded 24 and they've conceded 2 or more in a game on 9 occasions. Here come Notts, ball into the penalty area. Wotton's got it at the near post, tries to get it towards the back post. It's blocked, it'll go behind, and Notts have their second corner of the game.
Great work again from Brindley up that right hand side, getting balls in the box. Absolutely whipped that one in, and Wotton there, to be fair, when he turned and took the ball down the box, he could have got a shot away, but he tried to get it back across the goal with another cross. But it's a good corner one here for Notts. They're sending all the big boys up.
Shields will be the man to take it, both hands above his head. It's an outswinger with the right boot, looking for Christian Dennis. It's headed away though by Winter, and out onto the left hand side it goes, where Michael Doyle's the first player to it. Plays it back into his own half, and Slocum will get there. All green kit again for Slocum as he tries to drift a pass out to the right hand side. It would have been lovely had it worked out. Not a bad effort, a couple of yards in front of Shields and out for a throw in on the far side. We played 38 minutes. Notts are a goal up here at home against Torquay. That goal coming inside 8 minutes. Brilliant strike from Richard Brindley from around 30-35 yards. Pinged it into the bottom corner of the net. Meanwhile, Mansfield are 2-0 up against Oldham, who are down to 9 men, from what I'm hearing. We'll cross back to Jake, I think, before the half is out here to find out the details. In fact, we can do that now. Jake. Time out. Oh. Okay, mate. Well, there's your danger man gone. Thank you very much, Jake. Meanwhile, you rejoin us here at Meadow Lane as a long throw from Mitchell Rose found its way to Christian Dennis inside the penalty area, around the penalty spot, and his volley went just over the top of Lucas Coverland's goal. Good opportunity, Johnson.
It was, and a very basic thing, a long throw into the box from Mitchell Rose. And it bounced twice before it got to Christian Dennis, and he should really do better. It's bounced to him. It's one of those where you're almost waiting for the ball to come sit down before you can hit it, but he's fired it over the bar from about 6 or 7 yards out. But good to be getting those opportunities in and around the box. It does show that Torquay again are a little bit frail at the back. But, you know, something so basic like a long throw like that, you shouldn't really get a shot off of the back stick from that. So there's more goals in this for Notts if they just keep putting a bit of pressure on, keeping the tempo high of their passing. They will cause trouble for Torquay.
Yeah, 16 games in the books for Torquay, and as I say, they've conceded 2 or more in 9 of those. It's out for a Notts throw on the far. Yeah, I guess so. It's out for a Notts throw in on the far side. Less than 5 minutes to go now until the break. What do you think Neil Ardley will be thinking of the first half's performance?
I think they'll be wanting more of the same. I think it's been good. It's been a pretty decent first half from Notts. They got the goal. I think they tended to sit back like a lot of teams do for the next 5 or 10 minutes. But you just get the feeling with Notts County at the moment that they have another gear, they have another level that they can find when they need it. And I do think if they can just keep that ball, keep the tempo high of their passing, you know, keep switching play, I do think they'll get in a lot more opportunities in this game, score more goals.
Turner down the left-hand side trying to find Dennis. Just beyond him, Cundy is on the ball. Dennis makes a good challenge though, and Cundy slips, and now Dennis gives it to Shields down near the corner flag, left-hand side, on his right foot, tries to get the cross in, fakes, goes back onto his left, wins a corner, surely. Yes, indeed. Even I could see that across the line, and I'm not at the best angle. The linesman on the far side, though, eagle-eyed, managed to spot it through the net, through the goal, and Notts have a third corner of the game. Be a nice time to score.
Been impressed with Sean Shields. He's got quick feet. He always likes that one where he's going to fake with his left foot and then he brings it on his right foot. There's another little fake, and fullbacks tend to go for them, and he's getting opportunities to put balls in the box every time.
Yeah, I think
delivery could be slightly better at times, I think.
It's going to be an in-swinging corner kick with his right boot. It's not a bad one, but it's headed away from the edge of the 6-yard box. You'd like to see more Notts players attacking that, and now it's a one-man counter-attack for the time being through Reid for Torquay. He takes it out onto the left-hand side. He's still going. He's in a foot race with Bakayoko. He'll do well to beat Bakayoko over 50 yards, and he didn't manage to do so, and it's gone out for a throw on the far side, albeit to the visitors, with 3 minutes remaining in the first half. And thoughts of a long throw for a moment. Instead, they've gone short. Brindley, the first man awake to it once more on the edge of his own penalty area, manages to belt it up towards the halfway line, where Cundy takes over. Went down earlier on in the game with a head injury, but shows no ill effects of that as Wootton comes across and puts him under a bit of pressure. Winter is now under pressure as well from Wootton. And Enzio nearly nicks the ball away from
just
Vincent.
How hard they're working. Baldwin, you've got Wootton, you've got Dennis, that charging down every ball, every time anyone in the back four, Torquay gets the ball, they're charging it down, and this is a sign of, you know, a team that's high in confidence, that wants more goals. Everyone's fighting and pulling in the one direction at the moment, because defensively you need your strikers to be chasing like they are as well, and everything for Notts at the moment is just working out very well. I've been impressed with Wootton up top. I think he really puts himself about. For a big man, he's not one of those who's static, he just waits for long balls to be pumped up to him. It's been a very good first half for Notts County, this has.
43 minutes on the clock, more than 8 hours on the clock now since Notts last conceded here at Meadow Lane. Ball over the top from Mitch Rose. No Notts player looking to get on the end of it, so goes straight through to Coverland. So with Kalala on the right hand side, Shields nipping at his heels once more, and they've switched back again, have those wingers, so back to where they started. Kalala on the right and Andrews on the left. Kalala looked to be the more dangerous when he was over on this right-hand side, I think it's fair to say. Bit of a tussle on the halfway line here, out for a throw-in away to our left-hand side. We'll go back up to Field Mill in a moment to see if Notts can get anything out of this attack. Notts, who are 2-0 up, and Oldham down to 9 men, having had 2 men sent off, but there has been a further development there, and Jake will tell us about it in a moment or two. And in fact, he'll tell us about it now. Jake. Only Mansfield. Only Mansfield. Thank you, Jake. Meanwhile, all eyes on the 4th official to see how long will be added on here at Meadow Lane, where Notts continue to lead by a 1-0. We've played the 45 minutes, and the 4th official is going to indicate, I think there'll be 2 minutes added on at the end of this first half. He's not very good at the whole turning the board around thing. He didn't even show the Derek Pavis stand then how long was going to be added on, but fortunately we got a glimpse of it when he dropped the board back down to his waist. Whoever designed these National League 4th official boards clearly didn't think that there's usually quite a large proportion of the fan base sat in the main stand where the dugouts are, and it's not double-sided, so you can only see one side of it, and not all 4th officials show both sides. Anyway, by the by, we're into the 2 minutes of additional time at the end of this first half. Mitchell Rose will take the long throw up to the edge of the Torquay penalty area. Not his best, and Torquay will try to counter-attack, but a good recovering tackle made by Shields prevents it from having too much bite, and now Notts have the ball back again down by the byline, and another corner kick. Well done, Christian Dennis.
Yeah, he's not known for his work rate with Christian Dennis, but he's chased down a lot of lost causes today up top, and he's won another one there. He's won a corner for his team just by running in behind. You know, there's no chance of him getting to that ball, but it sort of takes Notts up now to half-time, hopefully, and little things like that, little moments in games where people go that extra mile for each other. That's what successful teams have, and I've been impressed with Christian Dennis today and his work rate.
4th corner of the game for Notts, and Shields again will take it into the mix. The keeper comes for it, doesn't get it, but there was a yellow shirt close at hand, and he managed to scramble it away out towards Reed on the far side. Not much left of stoppage time. Brindley gets there, tries to win a second tackle as well. Ball skews into the path of Shields, dead centre, gives it to Wootton inside the 18-yard box, shoots, deflects, comes out in the direction of Mitchell Rose. Not still on the attack, given to Michael Doyle, who takes it down the left-hand side, wields back up the line. The referee puts his whistle to his mouth, and that's the end of the first half. Notts lead by a 0 at half-time, and have been impressive in doing so. The referee this afternoon, who isn't everybody's friend here at Meadow Lane, is Gareth Rhodes, but he's got his whistle to his mouth, and he gets us underway for this second half with a long ball forward from Torquay. It falls at the feet of Vincent. That could have been a Notts throw-in, it's not, and then Andrews goes down, flops under the challenge of Rich Brindley, just putting himself between ball and man and putting the brakes on, and now Mitch Rose is probably going to get booked for throwing the ball up over the top of his head and away, though he was fond of a word in the ear, was the referee in the first half, so he might get away with just a stern word once again. What will result is a free kick from the challenge from Rich Brindley for Torquay, a couple of yards in from the near touchline, midway through the Notts half, and so that sent some of the big Torquay players up from the back, and Andrews and Whitfield stand over the ball. Andrews with the left foot, Whitfield the right. It looks as though it will be Andrews who will take this one. We've played nearly a minute of this second half. Notts lead by a 0 They got that lead thanks to a thunderbolt from Rich Brindley from around 30 to 35 yards out, buried it in the bottom corner of the net after 7 minutes, and Torquay had a lot of possession in that first half, but Notts held firm. Can they do so in the second half? Ball to the back post, nodded back across goal, headed away by Kyle Wootton. It's not completely clear yet, though, although a good charge down from Michael Doyle and a couple of others players have seen Notts win it back, albeit briefly, as the ball's been put out for a throw-in on the far side. For Torquay United, the visitors this afternoon have brought about 400 or 500 supporters with them from the West Country, which is a pretty good show from such a long journey. John Thompson is my co-commentator here this afternoon. You talked about towards the end of that first half, Notts still having another gear that they could go into, as Christian Dennis plays a lovely searching ball out towards Enzio Baldwin, who's running at the 18-yard box of Torquay. Gets to that now. He's being forced back by a couple of yellow shirts. He finds Rich Brindley, who Cruyff turns and finds Rose, who in turn will drift a pass out to the left-hand side for Bakayoko. First time cross into the penalty area, headed away, and Michael Doyle will get his head on it. Kalala is the man who takes over, though Shields working hard to get back in possession once more for the Magpies. He does so and wins a free kick. That's really good from Notts. I was going to ask you, Tomo, how do they find that extra gear?
You just seen there in that counter-attack, they've gone from one end to the pitch to the other with a run by Baldwin, where you look at it and you just think of Notts sometimes that if they just get their tempo high, they can destroy any team in this division. They really can, and it's just doing things quickly and getting at teams, because the ability is there, and they've done it on that counter-attack, and you can see now they've won a free kick in a dangerous position here. But I always get that feeling with Notts. I think they have that extra level should they need to find it, but I just like to see it a bit more often and then try and get that second goal to kill this game off.
Free kick in at the near post. Yes. Dennis with the header, flicked on at the near post into the back stick, and he grabs his 7th goal of the season. Christian Dennis is a man in form. 3 in his last 3. This is the Christian Dennis that they thought they were signing more than a year ago. Better late than never. Notts 2-0 up against Torquay 3 minutes into the second half.
That's that other level I was telling you about just about 10 seconds before, Charlie.
Thank goodness you were here to prompt it into action.
Exactly, but getting that second goal is so important in these games. It really is, and Dennis is a man in form at the moment, and when that ball is put in the box, it was a really good free kick, really good delivery put in there, and he gets his head on it and it's in the corner of the net, and that's what happens. That's what you see. There's confidence in this Notts team at the moment. They're winning games of football. They're used to winning games of football, and you can see it in every one of them at the moment. They all want the ball, they're all demanding the ball, but another good finish from Dennis, who now that's 7 goals this season.
Mitchell Rose, meanwhile, has been clattered into by Francis Vincent from behind, but Rosie's a tough lad, he'll be fine. Meanwhile, Gary Johnson will not be waiting to make a change too much longer. He's already called one of his substitutes back in, and he is getting stripped, albeit with only 4 minutes played in this second half. Confidence flowing through the veins of these Notts players at the moment. They take the short free kick and go back to Sam Slocum. And so this Torquay's 17th game of the season, a 10th time that they've conceded 2 or more goals. They're very good going forward. They create stuff. That was all anybody was saying to me at half-time when I was going downstairs to the media room. They're a good team, this, aren't they, Torquay? They play some nice stuff going forwards. Well, at the moment, Notts aren't letting them do that, because they are swarming them every time they're in possession, and they've done so again. Here's Shields into the penalty area, to the byline, to Enzio, who nearly gets there. So close to getting on the end of that. Then Doyle gets there in front of Whitfield, went down, doesn't get a free kick, and Torquay will take over and look to build from the back. 50 minutes on the clock, 2-0 to Notts. The work rate is impressive again.
Yeah, he has. He's nicked it here, Baldwin. He's one I'd like to see more of the ball.
Yeah, he's on it, and has been on a couple of occasions in the early stages of this second half. Now to Brindley inside the penalty area, who will win a corner kick. You know it's going well when Enzio Baldwin's working hard off the ball and winning it back for Notts, and that's exactly what he did there. And the Notts fans in the Kop are singing "Up the Football League they go." I don't know if you can still sing that song when you're nationally, but up the Football League pyramid they go, hopefully. 5 corners for the game so far. 5 minutes gone in this second half. Shields will take. You said in the first half you wanted better delivery from him. Well, yeah, he's the man who took that free kick there, which resulted in Dennis's...
he gets himself in some very good opportunities, though. I've been impressed with him today.
Yeah, played very well. His best performance in a black and white shirt so far.
Oh.
And
Kiss
there he
of death,
rolls a daisy cutter along the ground to nobody but a yellow shirt, and now Reid is on the counter-attack, and it should be a free kick and a yellow card. Rich Brindley, a little pull back on Reid, which is a shame, because I think he'd have conceded possession anyway, but Brindley wasn't to know that, and so the yellow card for Rich Brindley for what is deemed to be a professional foul.
Yeah, we've all done it before. It's one of those situations where a team is breaking on you and you just clip someone's heels just to take the sting out of their attack, and he did that. You take a yellow card at times like that. I wouldn't moan at Brindley for that challenge at all. The referee just does. He likes to. He's fond of himself, I think is the best way of describing it today, Charlie. He seems to think this game is all about him at the moment.
Meanwhile, substitution now being made. Francis Vincent will come off. Amani Little comes on. It almost sounds like I'm Robin Chipperfield saying that I'm only little, but Amani Little is his name. And he comes on wearing the number 10. And it will be Andrews who will take this free kick from midway through the Notts half and close to the near touchline on the left-hand side. Andrews takes it, aims for the back post, man falls over. Sam Slocum says thank you very much, and that is catching practice. Easy.
That's it. Keeper has it in his hands. This is where you just need to be calm. No need to play out if you don't have to. You can see that both centre halves are dropping either side of the box to see if they can get the ball, but in situations like this, you're at home, you're 2-0 up. I'd prefer to push everyone up. And Sam Slocum, he's delivered a long ball forward to Wootton. That's what we want sometimes at times like that.
Doyle caught in possession in the centre circle, and Ben Turner couldn't do much about it, and Torquay have another free kick. My goodness, they've had a lot of free kicks in this game. Not saying that one wasn't, but they must be into double figures quite comfortably. Just curious to see if it's meant any sort of change to their formation, the introduction of the number 10 Little, who came through the Southampton Youth Academy. As the Notts fans away to our left-hand side are in great voice, best voice they've been in for more than a year, as the long ball goes forwards, and it's more catching practice for Sam Slocum. Torquay came into this game, they've won their last 3 games on the spin. 2 of those were away games that they'd scored 4 goals in each of them, one at Torquay, the other one at Ebbsfleet. But prior to that, they had lost 2 out of their last 3, but had hit a brief purple patch that Notts are going about the right way of ending this afternoon by the banks of the River Trent. Ben Turner gives it to Doyle, straight up over the top. Dennis is offside, and wouldn't have got there anyway, but I think he probably knew that he just drifted a little bit too soon. Elsewhere today in the National League, Hartlepool are leading at Aldershot by 1-0. It's Woking that are a goal up at Barnet. 0-0 between Eastleigh and Chorley, 1-1 between Ebbsfleet and Maidenhead. 1-0 to Borehamwood at Halifax, 2-0 here, and 1-0 to Solihull at home against Bromley. Yeovil against Harrogate is also 0-0. Stockport against Dagenham, Barrow against Dover, and Fylde against Sutton, all postponed due to issues with the rail network coming out of London. Incident, I think, at Milton Keynes. Anyway, Notts have a free kick here. In League 2, Crewe are leading 2-0 at Carlisle. It's 1-0 to Colchester at Crawley, 1-0 to Exeter at home against Forest Green, where Mansfield go next Saturday. Forest Green, that is. They've already been to Exeter. 1-1 between Leyton Orient and Walsall, 1-1 between Macclesfield and Port Vale. 1-0 to Bradford at Morecambe, 0-0 between Salford and Cambridge. 3-0 to Scunthorpe at home against Northampton. 2-0 Stevenage are up against Grimsby, and 1-0 to Swindon against Plymouth Argyle. Long ball here in the direction of Wootton, will eventually break in the direction of Michael Doyle instead. Now as Shields tries to juggle the ball up over his shoulders, goes down, and the referee gives Notts a very generous free kick. Torquay have had a few of those. Now Notts get one, and you bet that someone's going to have a go at goal from here. It's approaching 30 yards, if not 30 yards out, just to the right of centre, and Mitchell Rose is going to grab the ball.
Yeah, Mitch Rose looks like he's going to hit it all right. The referee there, it's a bit of a soft free kick really for Notts County to get. I think quite lucky to win that one. I think the ref's probably trying to even things up a little bit here at the moment. He's been getting a bit of stick from the Notts fans, so he's trying to get back in their good books, I think, with that one. But it's a long way out. I'm not sure Mitch Rose will be shooting from here, but he's changed now. He's moved it over. I think it's Doyle that's going to take it.
He's come back out. Brindley stood a few yards back. He's already belted one in from around 30 to 35 yards, that in open play. Brindley was back there just kind of flirting with the idea of having another go, but it's going to be Doyle referee unhappy that there was a bit of movement in the wall, or perhaps he'd just not had his moment to take centre stage for 2 or 3 minutes, and so he stopped the game once more. And Notts will have this free kick. Mitch Rose stood over it with the right foot. He is going to have a go at goal. He aims for the top corner, but it was always going high and a bit wide and not all that handsome.
Yeah, you get the feel in that position with Mitch Rose hitting it where he was going to aim for. The keeper would always have that covered. You'd expect the keeper to cover all them angles, but worth a try. When you're 2-0 up, I suppose you can have a go at those opportunities, but much better from Notts again. I still think that there's more to come from this team. I think that if he can get the ball to Baldwin a little bit more in this half, to get him running at them, we can get more goals here quite easily, but they look very comfortable at the moment. Torquay aren't causing any trouble for Notts.
Anzio Baldwin working hard, winning a couple of headers, but the referee gives Torquay a very soft free kick. Kalala tries to control the ball over his shoulder from that resulting pass forward, but couldn't really grab a hold of it, and Notts get it clear down the Notts left, the Torquay right. Doyle comes forwards, gets his studs on the ball once more. I nearly strangled you with your headphones there, sorry mate. Leaning on the lead.
That's right.
Zamana Bakayogo's been run over on the far side by Ben Winter, and that'll be a Notts free kick, and I think it might have knocked the wind out of Zoom on the far side. And so with 57 minutes gone, Notts 2 goals to the good. Let's check in with Jake Garner as Winter gets booked here to see if the second half at Field Mill is anywhere near as eventful as what the first half was. I hope he's all right. It's just knocked the wind out of him, surely. Thank you very much, Jake. Zamana Bakayogo is still down here on the far side of the ground, about 5 yards or so, which is still in the sunshine, the rest of it in shadow now, the pitch here at Meadow Lane. There's about 400 or 500 Torquay supporters on that far side in the Jimmy Cyril stand, and a moment of concern here because the club doctor has had to come onto the pitch now to see if Bakayogo is all right on that far side. I must say, when I assumed he was just kind of winded, knocked the wind out of him when Winter clattered into him on that far side. But anytime you see a club doctor and a physio out there on the pitch, you always assume the worst.
It was a hefty challenge. I think you got to be careful of ribs and things like that there. It looked like it really was a coming together. You wouldn't expect somebody as strong as him to stay down as long as this. So.
No, he's not going to be able to continue either, because Dion Kelly-Evans has just been called back in by Cox and Ardley, and he will now be coming on. Meanwhile, whilst we are still in this kind of paused position here at Meadow Lane, we can head back up to Mansfield where there's been another goal. Jake. Thank you, Jake. Pretty much on the hour mark here now, and Bakayogo is up, but only for a second or two as he's had to go off the pitch on the far side, and Dion Kelly-Evans is now on, and it looks like it'll be a straight swap. So Kelly-Evans making his first appearance for Notts since the 7th of September when he himself was injured, and full of instructions is Kelly-Evans for Doyle. Brindley was offering to go out there on the left-hand side, but always best when particularly the defence is in such a good run at the moment, I guess, to not disrupt it, and thus the straight swap with Dion Kelly-Evans going out there at left fullback is better than him coming on and Brindley going out there and yada yada yada. Yeah,
as little change as possible is what you're looking for there. Let's hope that Bakayogo is okay. Looks like he's still in a lot of pain as he walks around the back of the pitch.
Yeah,
but Dion Kelly-Evans, a good player.
Wootton brings the ball down on his chest edge of the penalty area and then volleys and tries to pick out the top corner, but it was a bit high and wide in the end. It'll be a goal kick, and Bakayogo getting a standing ovation from the Kop as he makes his way in front of them, and he returns the applause.
Seems to be walking a little bit better now,
Yeah.
isn't it? Sometimes it can just be the initial shock of that.
No point risking it though, as Rawlinson wins a header, and particularly when you consider that they have got a decent replacement lined up on the bench in Dion Kelly-Evans, and likewise Damien McCrory coming back to fitness as well. Left fullback is his preferred position as Kelly-Evans rolls it back to the keeper Slocum, who comes across, doesn't make the best connection with it. He had Reed bearing down on him, and that's gone out for the throw on the far side. Played 61 minutes here, and Bakayoko continues to slowly make his way around the edge of the Meadow Lane pitch, and now in front of the Derek Paver stand, where he receives similarly glowing ovation to the one that he got from the Kop. It's with Kalala on the far side meanwhile on the pitch, and Kelly-Evans comes across and puts it out for another throw. So 4-1 to the Stags at Field Mill today against Oldham. Oldham down to 9 men as well, so you'd assume that that one's in the bag. Nice touch from Gary Johnson, who gives Zoom a handshake to check if he's okay, the Torquay manager. And Notts will look to break through the middle here with Wootton. He's got Enzio to the right of him and Dennis to the left. Tries to slot it down that right-hand side. Always going to have a touch too much on the ball there. And they've gone back to the keeper, and the keeper nearly gets caught. And the referee's given Torquay another free kick, because perish the thought an outfield player could make any form of bodily contact with a goalkeeper. And so free kick taken quickly, almost a virtual goal kick. But they were riding their luck there with the visitors for a moment. Notts wanted a free kick for handball from an aerial collision. Doyle goes back and flies in, wins the ball, jumps up in the air, and is looking for some sort of further punishment from the referee in the direction of Kalala. I don't think Doyle ever got touched by him there at all. But he's a wily old fox, is Michael Doyle. 38 years young. I say 38 years young because someone very close to me in proximity is turning a similar age, let's say, today. It is your birthday, John Thompson. Happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for spending it with us at BBC Radio Nottingham.
It's been a good choice, hasn't it, watching this today?
Absolutely, absolutely. Brought us a bit of luck as well. We appreciate that. So 63 minutes on the clock here now. Notts are 2 goals to the good. One from 7 minutes in, which was an absolute screamer from Rich Brindley, and the other from Christian Dennis. And hey, Notts have got a free kick. Referee's really got very little control of this game. He's just giving free kicks back and forth.
At least he's not just giving it to one side. He's equally poor for both sides.
Yes,
so.
indeed, yeah. He's got it in his ear from both sets of supporters today. And this is a good opportunity for Notts, just outside the penalty area, to the right of centre by quite some way, maybe 10 to 15 yards. But Christian Dennis, with his left foot, has gone and grabbed the ball. A man in form, as we say, who scored 3 in his last 3, including 1 already in this second half. And he's thinking, why not have a go at grabbing a brace? And the referee's just making sure the wall is 10 yards back. And again, it's just a sign of the confidence that's flowing through them at the minute, that Dennis has gone and grabbed this with such eagerness. He steps back, sound of the drum from away to our left-hand side from the Kop, and here comes Dennis with his left foot, always going over the top of the crossbar. Not his best. 65 on the clock, still 2-0.
Now it's a good position for Dennis, and he does have a lot of confidence at the moment, but he didn't catch that one how he would have liked. Didn't trouble the keeper in any way. Not as important when you're 2-0 up to get it on target and get that goal, but a third goal will really kill off this game now for Notts County. They don't want to sit back with 25 minutes to go, try and see it out, get that third goal, get the 3 points and get on to the next game. It's a long, hard season ahead, but they're going well at the moment.
Certainly are. Meanwhile, away from the football, Nottingham's Ellie Downey has won bronze at the World Gymnastics Championships in Stuttgart. Meanwhile, there's a touch of miscommunications between Slocum and Turner, but Slocum will clear it away from around 15 yards outside of his penalty area, although straight back to a yellow shirt. It's Kalala, tries to weave his way down the right-hand side and wins Torquay a 3rd corner of the game. So bronze for Ellie Downey at the World Championships in the vault final. Her sister Becky also in action in the uneven bars final today. Head to BBC Nottingham Sport. You can find out how they're getting on. BBC RNS on Twitter. You can also follow the World Championships on the BBC Sport website. Outswinging corner in at the near post, where it's headed away by the Dutchman Enzio Baldwin. And Torquay immediately back on the front foot once again as they try to get themselves back into this game. That's going to be a free kick on the far side. Not a good tackle
yellow
from
card, I think.
Kelly Evans, and the referee's trotting over. There are a few shouts from the Torquay fans for off, but I think it's just going to be a yellow card for the young man who has come straight off of the substitutes bench to replace Zamana Bakayoko. Just keep an eye on what the ref's going to do. Yes, it is a yellow that he's brandished above the head of the diminutive Kelly Evans, and a free kick will be a couple yards in from the far touch line and around 10 yards away, maybe 8 from the edge of the Notts penalty area. So again, everybody forward for Torquay, everybody but their goalkeepers inside the Notts County half as the 67th minute ticks over. And Notts will again look to stand firm and resolute as they hope to protect what would be a 5th straight home clean sheet. Free kick to be taken by Little on the right wing, raises his left arm above his head, plenty of movement. Dennis trying to keep an eye on Reid. Oh, crikey me, he's gone underneath that one. Armani Little with a big old cross which went behind and into the cop. Less Armani and probably more Primark from Little on the far side.
Very disappointed with that. It was a bit of a rugby kick, that one. You know, I think Gary Johnson, when he looks at his Torquay team today, will be a bit disappointed with them, because you can see in patches that they do have good ability, some good players, but they've been outclassed today by this Notts team, and in little areas like that, when they could nick a goal or nick a good chance, they've just wasted opportunities. So I think Gary Johnson will be a bit disappointed. Here's Doyle.
Yeah, Doyle out to the left-hand side. Maybe a rush of blood to the head, I don't know. He saw Kelly Evans in space on the left wing.
We've got to be careful, because little passes like that going astray, it just happens once or twice, and then it creeps more into your game, and you can, before you know it, it only takes one goal here for Torquay to be back in the game. Yeah,
over the top they go to Torquay.
There's plenty of football left in this one.
Yeah, certainly is. And the target over the top was Duku, who came on during a stoppage a while ago. He's come on and has gone straight up front, so there's been a little bit of a juggle up in formations as well. Here comes Whitfield trying to slot it through to Duku once again, but it's gone beyond him and straight through to Slocum once more. So it was Jake Andrews who came off, and Duku, who has come on for Gary Johnson's side. Of course, Johnson used to be at Yeovil, Peterborough, a number of clubs really over the years. Bristol City, where his son Lee is still the manager. Manny Duku with the 9 on his back used to be at the likes of Halifax and Barnet. Not's working hard again, out of possession and trying to win the ball back, but another long ball forward up over the top, looking for Duku, who's laid it off, and Reid's going to shoot from about 40 yards. It hits Michael Doyle and comes back to a yellow shirt, and this time it's Kalala who goes down. It'll be a free kick once again for the visitors, and this one's a bit further in from the far touch line, still about 10 yards away from the edge of the Notts penalty area, but maybe 10 to 12 yards in from that far touch line. Another good opportunity for Torquay to knock on the door and get themselves back in this as we're inside the 70th minute.
Yeah, Notts have to be a little careful here, just a bit sloppy in possession at the moment, letting Torquay back into the game. And like any team, if you keep giving them possession, they will at some point cause you trouble, and this is a really dangerous free kick here for Torquay. They've sent all their target men forward.
Little stands over the ball once again. It's match day on BBC Radio Nottingham and on the BBC Sport website, and that ball in, well headed away by Dion Kelly Evans out to the right hand side, and it's well charged down by Shields. You'll love that, John Thompson.
Yeah, that's why they're there, to block crosses. Shields, he originally gave the free kick away, but in that position there he stopped the cross. That's what you want from him. Wingers have to track back sometimes, you know, Charlie.
Indeed, I'm sure you've had that conversation a few times over the years.
I think Craig Westcar heard that many times from me here.
Torquay's still in possession inside the Notts half. Long ball forward from the left fullback up into the 18-yard box. There's a bit of an error there as it falls to the edge of the 6-yard box, off the line, cleared over the top of the crossbar, and I think it came off of a Notts player last. It might have been Kyle Wootton. Ben Whitfield with a golden opportunity to equalise for Torquay after it had already been cleared off the line when Ben Turner didn't manage, equalise, get a goal back. They are 2-0 down, but a golden opportunity nonetheless, and thanks to a deflection, it went over the top of the crossbar, and Torquay have a fourth corner of the game, but Notts riding their luck there as they failed to clear their lines at the back post as the ball came in. Here's another one into the mixer, headed away, but it's still inside that penalty area. Comes out towards Winter now, who stands the ball back up into the 18-yard box again. Brindley heads it clear, comes out to Whitfield, helped on its way by Buse, and straight through to the gloves of Sam Slocum. Good defending. Frantic defending at times.
Yeah, good and frantic, but the last 5 minutes, Notts really haven't been able to get out of their own half here. It's been all Torquay putting on all the pressure, as you'd expect for any team that are 2-0 down. They have to go for it now, but not to the cause of their own downfall here. They're just not keeping possession in any way. They're giving it straight back to Torquay as soon as they get it. Just need those centre forwards just to keep a hold of it for a second. Just a few passes, string a few passes together and get further up that field. Torquay are still dangerous.
Certainly our goal will change this game. Notts lead by 2-0. Mansfield have got another at Field Mill. Jake. Tap. Good afternoon for John Dempster and the Stags up the A60 from here at Meadow Lane, where it's so far been a good afternoon for Neil Ardley and the Magpies. On clearance away, Mitchell Rose wins a header on the halfway line. 73 minutes on the clock. That's not a great looking challenge, but Doyle rides it and Notts keep hold of possession, so no harm, no foul. It's with Mitchell Rose, who's under pressure inside or around the centre circle anyway, has to turn and fizzes one back to Turner, who won't thank him for that. Does enough, just about to clear it away. I think he almost hit that with the pace and power, like he was trying to get it back to the goalkeeper, and yet he gave it to Turner. But Notts have done enough once more with good work off the ball to win it back. Rose fizzes one over the top and looks for Wootton. The keeper's a long way from home, but he heads it clear. Falls to Rose, some saying you should shoot, I think only jokingly, and Turner has to clear it away again out onto the right hand side, and I think Turner will have a word with Rose in a moment, because that's a couple of balls that he's sent his way, and now a daft one that he's ballooned up in the air as Shields it's clattered into in an aerial challenge by Winter. That's neat on the left hand side. Dennis turning it round the corner, back to Shields. Dennis now flicking it forwards in the direction of Kelly Evans, and Notts maybe just trying to get a touch too cute with it, and Torquay have won possession back. They'll play the ball down the right channel, and Turner will win the foot race and get there in front of Dookie. He's hurt, is Turner. I think he, in one of those instances recently where Rose was playing hospital passes back to him, Turner seemed to be walking a little bit gingerly, and he's now down and looks to be in some measure of discomfort. Trouble here. Yeah, and that's worrying in itself, because he's just such a big presence back there in defence for Notts. Just getting back up to his feet slowly. You hope it's just a knock. Seems to be okay.
Yeah, I thought he might have pulled maybe his hamstring or his calf, but he's moving okay. It's going to take a serious injury to get Ben Turner off the pitch. Indeed.
He wants to have a word with Mitchell Rose for all those passes that we've sent back.
I think that sometimes with Mitch Rose, he's very good in that midfield. He wins a lot of battles, but he's not one of those that has the ability to hit those 30, 40-yard passes. He needs to just play the simple ball sometimes, and that's when he has his most effective games. Just keep it ticking over.
Notts have a free kick inside their own half. Meanwhile, Neil Ardley ready in a substitution. It's going to be Regan Booty who will come on, and we'll wait to see who'll be making way. I think it might be Shields. It is, who's had a decent game. No, tell a lie, is it? Yes, it is. Yes, Sean Shields, who is coming off today and getting a standing ovation from many here at Meadow Lane, and that, with an assist for the second goal, is without a doubt his best performance in a black and white shirt so far.
Yeah, he's been very good today. As I say, he's a small lad, not much physical presence, but he's run at the defence every time he's got it today, and I like wingers that do that. He's always positive, always trying to cause trouble, put balls in the box, you know, just create something every time he got it, and he was much more effective for me today than on the other side, where we've had Baldwin, where we know he has ability, but he's not been able to get on the ball and cause problems like Shields has.
Rose can't keep hold of it, and Ben Turner is back on the ball. He gives it to Slocum, plays it out, I should say fizzes it out towards Rawlinson on the right hand side, who controls it well though and plays the ball over the top. It hits the heels of Wootton as he was running long, and it's back with Torquay once more. Will play their way out from the back. We've played 76 minutes, it's still 2-0 to Notts, and now Little and Whitfield will get something working down the left hand side. Whitfield's cross is cut out by the Welshman Rawlinson once more. Now to a Scotsman, Cameron, stepping out of defence. He's the skipper for Torquay, and that's neat as they work it out to the right hand side. It's with Winter, who's been booked, to Kalala, who's also been booked, headed away by Turner, falls to Little, dithers on the ball a touch there, works his way into the penalty area, gives it back to Kalala, who cuts it back to Winter, and he's not being closed down all that quickly. Back to Little, and they're overcomplicating it now, just overcooking it all, and they've played it out to the left hand side. Notts fans screaming at their players to get something moving. They get lucky as Mitchell Rose's header flicks on and goes behind for a corner. It was just an inch or two in front of Onani Little. That's a fifth corner of the game for the visitors. Both sides probably guilty there, John Thompson, of overcomplicating their attack and their work.
Sometimes you just put the ball in the box, don't you, when you look up, but they took too many passes there. They won themselves a corner, Torquay.
Here comes that corner kick, an outswinger. Slocum does well, punches it clear. That's really good from the goalkeeper. Wootton chases it out onto the near side, but a Torquay man gets there first. It's knocked back in there again, but Dennis is back there winning a header, and it's nice to see your number 9 back there doing some of the dirty work as well. And the ball is back on the halfway line with 78 minutes nearly on the clock here. Ball down the right hand side, looking for Buse, who won't get there. Turner gets there first, does just about enough to get it clear, but not so really under the cosh here, and a goal would change this game. And Liam Davis, perhaps encouraged, he's a fullback is Davis, perhaps encouraged by seeing the Notts fullback Brindley score from range in the first half, just tried to have a go from about 5 yards inside the Notts half, away from the centre circle. So you're talking a good 40 yards or so, and yet, despite that, he thought, that's a good idea. He put it well wide.
I'm not sure Gary Johnson was too happy with his choice there to take a shot from that distance.
Just gives Notts defensively breathing space.
It does, yeah.
Take
Sam Slocum, there's no rush to take this goal kick.
There's going to be one final change for Notts as well. Wes Thomas is stripped and ready to come on the near touchline. The booties on, Dion Kelly-Evans on. Kelly-Evans on because Zamana Bakayoko went off with an injury, which looked pretty bad at first, but he then walked off and looked to be okay. So here comes Thomas, and Dennis will make way. He's had a good game, got his goal, moved on to 7 for the season, and has scored 3 in his last 3, which is pretty much all you can ask for from a number 9.
Yeah, and it shows probably the strength and depth that Notts have, really, to be bringing on somebody like Wes Thomas at this time. He could probably count himself a little bit unlucky to be out of the team today, but what can you do when you have somebody like Dennis coming off the bench and scoring? And you know, I think those two up front with Wootton all season will cause a lot of trouble.
Booty tries to smuggle the ball down the right hand side, excuse me, as Wootton nutmegs the Torquay skipper, but couldn't get the other side of him, so Torquay will smack it clear down the right hand side. Dion Kelly-Evans gets back and gets a free kick because he runs across the path of Duku, and that's a free kick every day of the week, really. It's just clever from Dion Kelly-Evans and a bit daft from Big Duku, and the free kick will be again taking his time over by Sam Slocum. Yeah, Neil Ardley, interesting, after I think it was Dover away, so a week ago, he said in 2 strikers you've got Wes Thomas, who is brilliant at getting himself into goal scoring opportunities but doesn't always finish, whereas Christian Dennis is the better finisher of the two but doesn't always get himself into those goal scoring opportunities. I guess those are the things you have to make do with in the National League, because if you had a player that did both, chances are wouldn't be here.
And you also think you could add in Nathan Tyson into that mix as well, you know, and I think there's plenty to come from this striking force that Notts have as the season goes on. over Christmas and times like that, when you have suspensions, you have players out of form, hitting form at different points of the season, you're going to rely on all these players. And
cup competitions.
If you look at all the other squads, they don't have that luxury that Notts County have, and this is where I think as the season goes on, Notts will be stronger, because they've got a big squad, but they've also got a lot of quality in that squad.
Free kick for Notts, about 7 or 8 yards outside of the Torquay penalty area and about 15 to the right of centre. Booty stands over the ball with his left foot, clips it into the 18-yard box, headed away. Doyle knocks it back in the mix once more, but it is cleared by those Torquay players, and they'll try to get away down the right-hand side with Kalala and now Little. In the middle there's Duku and there's Reid as well. First time ball in towards Reid, who flicks it up in the air with the outside of his foot, and Sam Slocum says thank you very much. Less than 10 minutes remain now at Meadow Lane. They are leading by 2-0. The Terrace back with you on BBC Radio Nottingham on Friday evening from 6 o'clock. And then it's match day on Saturday, Notts against Belper in the FA Cup 4th qualifying round. Sam Slocum's just cleared the ball out of his gloves long up over the top, and Kyle Wotton tried to prevent it from going out for a goal kick at the other end and didn't quite manage. 673 from Torquay, making up a crowd of 5,265 here this afternoon at Meadow Lane. 673 from Torquay is pretty darn impressive. And as Kelly Evans tries to win a header, he doesn't, but Turner does, and then Turner gives it the kind of, remember Peter Kay in the John Smith's adverts, gives it that kind of treatment and knocks it long. It was almost, again, you're talking about rugby kicks earlier on, that was like they were playing for field position with a long boot forwards down the left-hand side and out for a throw. Of course, it's the international break this weekend, so no Forest, but they're back next weekend, which is a Sunday game, so we'll have a match day for you live from Wigan. Where else would you want to be, Robin Chipperfield, than Wigan on a Sunday afternoon? Here's Enzio down the left-hand side, gives it to Booty, who's hugging the touchline. His attempted cross is blocked, and it goes out for a throw-in right next to the corner flag in front of the Jimmy Cyril stand.
The atmosphere today, has to be said, is some of the best I've seen in Meadow Lane. The fans have really got behind them. We talked about Sam Slocum before, saying he needs the fans to stick with the team, and they've definitely done that today. But you've got to get your own home fans excitable, and that's what they've done very well today.
Kelly Evans goes down, Kalala lands on top of him, and then Kelly Evans stays down and gets shoved as Kalala in the back from, I think, Doyle over there, who then lands on Kelly Evans once more. But all's well that ends well. You were saying, Tom, really good atmosphere today.
It is, and I think the players have generated it, though. It's that tempo of that passing and attacking teams at pace and using all your attributes you have, like quick wingers. And I think the front two work really well today, and that's what's got the fans in this position. And I think it's the best atmosphere I've seen in Meadow Lane for quite some time.
84 minutes on the clock. Notts with a free kick on the left wing outside the penalty area. It's a shot goalwards, and it's put just behind by Duku for a corner kick. A couple of Magpies players, including Rose and Thomas, darting to the near post trying to get a flick on it, but the Torquay man managed to get there first, and Notts have a 6th corner of the game. Booty will take it short and knock it back up the line to Michael Doyle. Doyle onto the left-hand side where Notts have 2 players. Enzio's one of them, Booty the other, and Enzio keeps it at his feet and goes back to the Irishman once more, who plays it into the penalty area. Good ball that to Thomas, twists and turns. He's got his back to goal, which he's quite proficient at doing and operating from. Now back with the Dutchman once more, the dancing Dutchman with a cross into the 18-yard box, not headed clear just yet by Torquay. It's out towards Rawlinson on the edge of the penalty area, whose eyes must have lit up for a moment. Tried to shift it to Rose, didn't do so, and instead Torquay will come away with it down the left-hand side. It's with Duku, who's run about 40 yards with the ball. He's got 3 black and white shirts around him. Brindley gets there, goes down, wants a free kick, won't get one, and instead the referee gives a throw-in. 5 to go, 2-0 Notts.
Yeah, it's time for cool heads now. Don't do anything silly last 5 minutes. Just keep that ball, keep it in their half. Just don't concede a goal. Get that clean sheet.
Enzio juggling the ball inside his 18-yard box. You said you wanted a cool head. That was pretty cool. Not all far cleared away yet. It's with Little, 30 yards out. He shoots. It decks Turner in the process, and He seems to be in some discomfort there. There's Ben Turner, but he's straight back up on his feet, and they have taken the corner kick quickly. Little in at the near post, straight into the gloves of Sam Slocum. There's a penalty, I believe, at Field Mill. Jake Garner. Thank you very much, Jake. 4 minutes remain here, meanwhile, at Meadow Lane, where Notts continue to lead Torquay by 2-0. They are edging closer to a 5th consecutive home clean sheet. But Torquay are still pushing to get one back, and one back when you've got a 2-goal lead is a very dangerous thing. It's with Little once more on the right-hand side of the Notts penalty area, crosses it into the penalty area, and Rawlinson tries to head it away. Brindley does likewise. Clearly Dooku's fouled him there, and yet the referee's not given it. Notts managed to scramble it away for a throw-in on the near side, and Brindley looks at the referee and, what planet are you on? As Brindley tried to clear it away, Dooku had all hold of him and prevented him from jumping. He's a much bigger man, and well, there's a free kick, obviously, as Baldwin clatters into the back of Buse, and there can be no complaints. It is a free kick, but lack of consistency perhaps. So this free kick about 12 to 15 yards outside of the Notts penalty area, and over to the left-hand side. Armani Little's going to take it once more. We've got 3 minutes of normal time remaining, and he aims for the back post where there are big men lurking. And Slocum comes, and it's food and drink again for him. Showed a very clean pair of hands today, has the Notts number 1.
Yeah, he's grown in stature, hasn't he, all season. He's had a bit of a spell down on the Ebbsfleet game, which is a game that I did, where he didn't come and collect the ball, and they conceded. And then since then, really, he's not put a foot wrong, has he? Came for every cross, and he's grown in stature every game. But you need that. I think a goalkeeper who's in form and inspires a team. You have that bit of extra confidence knowing your keeper's there at all times. Sam Slocum's been very good today.
Some almost match-winning saves over the last couple of games. As things stand as well, Notts will be top 3. Excuse me, go on. Chippers, talk to me, because I can't read your handwriting.
All I said was the top 3 are all losing.
Oh, right, I thought you said top 3.
No.
Because all losing. I was going to say, my goodness, they've done well there. Made up some ground. It's with Armani Little. Across towards Winter, inside the Notts half. Plays it down the right-hand side. Ball into that Notts penalty area, cleared away by Doyle. It comes out to Little again, who shoots. It hits Rose. And the danger not cleared just yet, because Cameron's forward. He flicks it off the back of his head. Kelly Evans will try to shepherd the ball out on the far side for a goal kick, which he does. And I'm just hearing who the man of the match will be. Rich Brindley gets it. You will be in favour of seeing. Fullbacks don't often get man of the match, do they?
I think when you score a goal like that, you deserve man of the match, don't you? Now, he has been excellent defensively as well. That's his priority, and he's done that very well as scoring the goal. So yeah, I've been very impressed with him today. But it could have been a number of people today. I think the whole Notts team, they've played well as a team today. They've worked hard for each other as well, and that's how you get results in this division.
Ball up over the top from the resulting goal kick. Brindley wins a header. Enzio over there as well. Goes for the 1-2, back down the touchline for Brindley, who gets there and cuts it back. It falls to Enzio off of a deflection. He tries to fizz it across the 6-yard box, and I think Wes Thomas might have caught or saw one. He's down. Referee's going to allow play to continue, even though I think it might be a head injury. Cross back into the penalty area once more is... I thought we were going to go behind. It hasn't. It's just about stayed in. Torquay will clear it, and now the referee has quite rightly stopped the game. It's an interesting kind of crisis of conscience there, because Thomas is down, and it's a head injury, and yet Notts are attacking, and Neil Ardley, meanwhile, has been asked to give the cop a wave. He gives them a round of applause instead. The 90 minutes are up, and the 4th official has come and grabbed his board, and we'll endeavour to find out how long's been added on at the end of this game. I think it's going to be 5 minutes. So 5 minutes more for the Magpies to hold firm to get a 3rd straight home victory and a 5th straight clean sheet here at Meadow Lane. And we are inside those 5 minutes now by around 30 seconds or so. Meanwhile, Mansfield are leading Oldham today by 6 goals to 1. 9-man Oldham, they went down to 9 men with around 5 or 10 minutes to go before half-time. Wes Thomas, meanwhile, is back up on his feet and seems to be okay. I'm not sure whether he caught the ball flush in the face from Enzio Baldwin's powerful cross from close range, or whether he caught a flailing arm or elbow or something like that. But the goalkeeper's going to take over. Speaking of elbow, Guy Garvey, who I've been informed is the lead singer, is or was, don't shake your head at me now, Chippers, is on the beat this evening with Dean Jackson, and that from 6 o'clock. The big guests keep on coming on the beat. They've had loads in recent weeks, so that's well worth a listen, as Sam Slocum just about gets the ball away after Conor Rawlinson left it a little bit short. Notts have it though on the halfway line with Baldwin, now to Doyle and to Rose, who plays it away down the right. It's coming straight back towards him. He lets the ball go. Conor Rawlinson nearly lets it go as well. He's like a seal juggling the ball on his head there for a moment, but Notts do have it. Brindley will go all the way back to the goalkeeper, Sam Slocum, and that is applauded. Elsewhere in the National League today, as Chippers was saying a few moments ago, the top 3 are all losing at last check. So Hartlepool are 2-0 up at Aldershot, Woking are 2-1 up at Barnet, 2-1 to Maidenhead at Ebbsfleet, Boreham Wood winning 2-0 at Halifax, 2-0 to Solihull at Bromley, and 2-0 to Harrogate at Yeovil. The games between Stockport and Dagenham and Redbridge, Barrow and Dover, and Fylde and Sutton all postponed today because of problems with the train networks. It's with Notts here, meanwhile, who are on their way to another victory. And Kyle Wootton does well, holds the ball up in the far corner and wins his side a throw-in, which will be taken very, very slowly, I'm sure, by today's man of the match, Rich Brindley. 2.5 of the 5 minutes played are up, and Brindley now has it. He tries to keep hold of it in the bottom corner. Now it's with Enzio. Torquay players back there beavering away, trying to win it. They do, and they'll have a throw-in next to their own corner flag. Nearly 3 of the 5 gone. What's impressed you most today, John Thompson?
I think everybody's work rate. I think that's been the biggest noticeable thing for me today, particularly the strikers closing down centre halves, full-backs, goalkeepers, chasing lost causes, and everyone just working as a team, working hard, demanding the ball from each other, wanting the ball, all the things that you want from a team that's, I suppose, high on confidence. That's what good results it brings on. But they've got to keep up this momentum now. They're in a very good position. That's unbeaten in 5, I think. So many clean sheets they've had at home. That's the basis of everything, and I do think this team will always score goals, so it could be a very good season for Notts County. They just have to keep up this momentum that they have at the moment. It was always going to take a bit of adjustment at the start of the season, but the players really look like they're developing together as a team. A very good performance today all round.
It's been about 6 weeks, I think, since you'll have seen them last with us, certainly down at Ebbsfleet. How much have they improved since then? A
lot, yeah. I think having a target man in the team has really helped. Kyle Wootton up there, he does a lot of unnoticed things. He's challenging for balls, whereas early on in the season, you would have had probably Dennis and Thomas up front, and you're playing long balls up. They're not going to win any sort of physical battles up there, and I think that's been the biggest noticeable thing, having that focal point, that's bigger striker up there really helps the team.
Rose trying to dribble his way out of danger and then wins a good slide tackle and not still have it. Booty plays it out onto the right channel for Thomas to chase. He's being closed down. That's a free kick. I don't care what time of the game it is. It's a bit daft as well from Kyle Cameron, the Torquay skipper. Barges into the back of Wes Thomas, and that virtually ices the game. It's going to be a free kick for Notts, 2 or 3 yards outside of the Torquay penalty area on the right wing, and party time for Notts, who are edging ever closer and should be now very much, barring something miraculous, secure of a 3rd home victory on the spin, going unbeaten for their last 5 games as well, taking their total of wins to 4 wins in their last 5, and it looks like it'll be a clean sheet as well, a 5th in a row. Enzio stands over the ball, Wootton's over there as well, and Wootton's going to take it to the corner flag. No harm, no shame in doing that. Torquay players trot across and will try to give him a shove. Wootton stands over it, Enzio now on the ball down there. He's going to keep hold of it as well. A couple Torquay players trying to get on that, and the linesman's given a phantom free kick because there was clearly no infringement other than the fact that they were keeping hold of the ball in the bottom corner. But we've played 30 seconds more now than the 5 minutes that were added on. The goalkeeper's nicking yards like they're giving them away, but it doesn't really matter in that area of the pitch, nor at this time of stoppage time, I shouldn't think as well. And as Mitch Rose wins a header, Winter now controls it on his chest. Michael Doyle in there. It's now with Wes Thomas. Thomas gets it out onto the left-hand side for Dion Kelly-Evans. All eyes on the referee, as he can only be moments away from putting the whistle to his lips and blowing for full time here at Meadow Lane, because the game is just drifting away in drips and drabs. That's a lovely ball forward. It would have been offside. It is offside, I thought, from his elongated whistle there that he was about to blow for full time. Well, the Notts fans get to celebrate another home victory. More home victories in the early stages of this season than what they had in all of the second half of last. And Notts do win by 2 goals to 0. Standing ovations all round here.